Have you ever stopped to think about the people in your life and their true intentions? It's something we might overlook in the hustle and bustle of daily living, but it's incredibly important. According to the Bible, not everyone who comes into our lives is here to help us. Some might even harm us spiritually. This is a tough pill to swallow, especially when these individuals appear caring and supportive on the surface. The Bible talks quite a bit about this in 2 Corinthians, chapter 11, verses 13 to 14, where it warns us about false apostles and deceitful workers who disguise themselves as righteous people. It states, "For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." This means that sometimes what looks good on the outside isn't really good at all, just as Satan can appear as an angel of light. People can present themselves in ways that are misleading. In a similar vein, Proverbs 18 verse 24 provides wisdom on friendships, saying, "One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." This teaches us that it's not about how many friends we have, but rather about having friends who are truly reliable and supportive. Quality trumps quantity when it comes to the people we choose to let into our lives. But there's more to it than just picking good friends. The Bible suggests there's a spiritual battle going on, where the enemy, Satan, might place deceitful people in our paths. These individuals often look like the perfect friends or allies. They share secrets, offer advice, and seem genuinely interested in our lives. Yet their real goal is to mislead us and cause spiritual harm. Identifying such people can be really tricky. They are often embedded in our daily environments. Schools, workplaces, neighborhoods, and yes, even our churches. They can appear supportive and kind, making it hard to recognize their true intentions. It's like trying to spot a camouflaged creature in the wild. They blend in too well. Facing this reality requires us to be vigilant and prayerful. We need to ask for God's guidance to help us see through these disguises and make tough decisions about our relationships. Sometimes, this means distancing ourselves from individuals we once considered friends. It's not easy, especially when these relationships are deeply rooted in our lives, but it's necessary for our spiritual health and well-being. We need to be vigilant about who we let into our circles. The Bible offers a stark warning about the consequences of bad company. In 1 Corinthians 15, verse 33, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." This verse isn't just a casual suggestion. It's a serious warning that our associations can directly affect our moral integrity and spiritual health. So, how can we recognize these negative influences in our lives? First off, look at their actions. Are they encouraging behaviors that you know are wrong? Maybe they're nudging you towards dishonesty, like stealing or lying, or they're involved in other immoral activities like drug use or gossip. These are clear signs that they're not just bad influences, but potentially destructive ones. It's also crucial to listen to how they talk about others and about life. Are they cynical? Do they dismiss your faith or ridicule you for your beliefs? In Matthew 7, verses 13 to 14, Jesus talks about the narrow path leading to life and the broad path leading to destruction. He warns us that following him might not always be popular, but it's always right. If someone mocks you for choosing the narrow path, they might not be the best company. When we identify someone in our lives who fits these warning signs, what should we do? It's not just about recognizing them. It's about taking action. The book of Romans, chapter 14, verse 12, reminds us that we are each responsible to God for our actions. It's on us to ensure that our choices, including our friendships, reflect our commitment to Him. Making the decision to distance oneself from negative influences can be tough, especially if those relationships are long-standing or deeply intertwined in our social or family circles. But remember, even Jesus faced mockery and isolation for His teachings and choices. Choosing to stand firm in your faith might mean you'll face some loneliness, but the peace and spiritual strength you gain are worth it. It's also about protecting not just yourself, but those around you. Negative influences can ripple out, affecting more than just one person. They can impact entire families or communities. By standing up against these influences, you're setting a positive example for others, especially younger or less mature believers who are still finding their footing in their faith journey. While it's essential to be kind and loving to all, it's equally important to guard your spiritual well-being. The book of John, chapter 17, verse 16, says, "They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world." As believers, we're called to be different, to hold ourselves to a higher standard. That means making tough choices about who we let influence us. Keep your eyes open, pray for discernment, and always choose friends who will walk with you on the path of righteousness, not away from it. Someone shared a story with me that really made me think about the choices we make and the company we keep. It's about a young woman who started her own business right out of college. She was passionate and driven, and her hard work quickly paid off. Her business grew, and so did her circle of friends and associates. As her social circle expanded, she began spending time with a new group of entrepreneurs. These folks were successful, charismatic, and seemed to have it all. However, they also had a knack for bending the rules, rationalizing their shortcuts with the ends justify the means mentality. At first, the woman resisted joining in on some of their less ethical business practices, but over time, her resolve wore down. Before she knew it, she found herself cutting corners and justifying actions that she knew were wrong. Her initial hesitation turned into full participation, and this shift began to affect not just her business, but her personal life too. She drifted from her family, her longtime friends, and the values she once held dear. One day, it all came crashing down. A major deal turned out to be a scam, heavily involving her company, and suddenly her professional and personal life was in ruins. Reflecting on everything, she realized how profoundly she'd been influenced by her peers. She remembered a verse from Proverbs 1. Verse 10, "My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent." If only she had heeded this advice, she thought. This story is a solemn reminder of the importance of the company we keep. The Bible is full of wisdom about the influences in our lives. For instance, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33 warns us, "Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals." This teaches us that our surroundings can corrupt our character. leading us away from the path of righteousness. What are the signs that someone might be leading us astray? First, watch for those who encourage actions you know are wrong or feel uncomfortable with. These individuals might seem to be getting ahead in the world, but at what cost? Another red flag is when someone consistently undermines or mocks your beliefs. If they continually question your faith or encourage you to compromise your principles, it's a clear sign they may not be good for you. Jesus spoke about this in Matthew 7, verses 13 to 14, explaining that the path to life is narrow and less traveled. Choosing the right path often means walking away from the crowd. Paul also offers advice in Romans 14, verse 12, reminding us that each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. This verse underscores the importance of personal responsibility and the need to resist peer pressure that leads us astray. When you realize that some friends are pushing you toward evil, it's your responsibility to step away from those relationships. It's essential if you value your spiritual and moral integrity. Sometimes this might mean making tough decisions and ending long-standing friendships. Moreover, if the people in your life persist in encouraging doubt and negativity about your faith, consider what Romans 16, verses 17 to 18 says. I urge you, brothers and sisters, to watch out for those who cause divisions and put obstacles in your way that are contrary to the teaching you have learned. Keep away from them. These individuals are not serving Christ, but their own desires, using flattery and smooth talk to deceive. It's also important to listen to the warnings from those around you who might see things more clearly than you do. If respected and trusted figures in your life, like a pastor, spouse, or parent, warn you about someone, take it seriously. God often uses our community to protect us from making harmful choices. Remember, the people you surround yourself with can significantly influence your life's trajectory. This isn't just about avoiding negative influences, but also about actively choosing those who will uplift and support your walk with God. Keep your relationships rooted in the teachings of Christ. This foundation will help you discern, resist temptations, and maintain your course. As John 17:16 reminds us, we are in the world, but not of it. Let's strive to keep our lives aligned with this truth, guarding our hearts and our paths with vigilance and prayer.